Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2. I am Mark.
I'm Tom. This is a podcast straight out of Boise, Idaho about two normal guys who really like beer.
So, for those of you who listened to episode number 1, the beginning was very different than this one. I tried to, since it was our very first episode, I tried to make it like over the top, huge, like, hey, here we are, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I probably pushed it a little bit too far.
Okay.
So this week, kind of getting back down.
So mellow it down a little bit.
Here we are. This is our music. Not getting crazy with the music this time.
Right.
But
it's not like that epic war scene type of music.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, like Game of Thrones style.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And I have been binging that lately.
Oh yeah.
And
it's a good show.
Wow, it's something else for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
All right. Well, today's episode all about beer basics. So we're gonna just go through what you need to know so you don't look like a noob.
So really, the one thing that I hate. So I go to growler guys. I fill up my growler there quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get a line in front of you, 3 or 4 people, and there's nothing worse than that guy that goes in there and says, I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you recommend? It's like, holy shit, are you kidding me? There's like 50 taps.
Right.
Okay? At least know what kind of style you're looking for.
Exactly.
Say, hey, I'm looking for a pale ale. What do you recommend? That, okay, I get that. No
well, at least that
problem.
would be narrowed down to like a couple selections, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Instead of all 50, right? So, yeah.
Right. So, when people do that, it just seems to take just forever to get a growler filled out and be on your way. Please, people, we are here to tell you kind of the beer basics so you don't look like that guy when you go to get your growler filled.
Absolutely. Yep. Anyways, so moving on, beer news. We researched some stuff, saw an article, and just so everybody knows, prices of cans are going up. It's going to last for several years.
Son of a bitch.
Several years. Isn't that crazy?
My word. Everything's going up.
Everything.
Why do we need to have cans going up? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, pandemic forced some of the canning to go into the tap room or kegs instead. Demand has grown immensely because everyone's using cans. You can think about the soda companies, beer, seltzers, ciders, etc. Ball Corporation isn't helping by wanting to raise the minimum order of the size of the order for cans from 204,000 to over 1 million.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's going to kind of hurt the little breweries.
That's going to definitely hurt the small breweries. Because think about it, like all the ones around here, especially ones that are just starting up, if they decide to can their stuff, they're going to have to place them over 1 million cans. There's no way they're going to distribute that much.
How can you do that?
Yeah.
Ball holds like a monopoly on these cans. I mean, they are the biggest manufacturer in the United States, and I guess they do what they want.
Yeah, well... Yeah, so a little more research into that. Ball shipped 112.5 billion cans in 2021.
That's about the number of beers I had last year.
Is it really?
Yeah,
that's a lot of beer.
It was a lot of beer.
Okay,
pandemic. I got to drink my way through the pandemic.
I'm gonna fact check you on that a little bit later. But anyways, so it looks like Ball's gonna add 2 more manufacturing locations They added 2 more manufacturing locations in 2021, and they're going to add 2 more in 2022 and 2023. So this will add about 12 billion more cans to the market. So
hopefully that will convince Ball to not have to force those higher orders.
You would think. But,
I hope so.
Yeah, time will tell. I mean, they got to recoup their investment on these new manufacturing locations too, so...
That is for sure. And maybe that's one reason why Barley Brown refuses to can their stuff.
That could be.
They did it one time at the beginning of the pandemic, and Thank you, Barley Brown. Loved it. I went out and bought all I could, and now I'm kind of sad because they don't do it anymore.
Right. And speaking of that, Mark and I are wearing matching Barley Brown shirts too, by the way. So it wasn't scripted, it wasn't planned, it just happened to be that way.
It's my podcast shirt.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
You got to do that. You got to have your podcast shirt. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so Tom, It has been just about a month
Yeah.
since
about
we
a
got
month.
together. What'd you do? Did you go anywhere? Did you try anything new?
Yeah, so let's see. I did try a new Mother Earth. They're rotational in Memorum. Really good beer. It seems like they're stepping up their percentage of alcohol each time they come out with one of these. So this one was 7.5%. Very, very mild, citrusy type flavor. Hazy, very good. Enjoyed that. As far as local breweries or anything I've gone to, I haven't really gone to any. I've gone to a couple restaurants, had a couple beers there, but not any breweries. So,
Right.
How about you?
Get a load of this.
All right.
All right, here we go. Got a story for you.
Okay.
Last weekend,
Yep.
our daughter had a sleepover at a friend's house. So that left me and the missus to go do whatever we want. Well, and mother-in-law too, if she decided to tag along.
Okay.
But she's kind of part-time working, so we were crossing our fingers like, ooh, maybe she's got to work and she won't want to come with us. Well, that happened. So what we did was we decided to go out without the mother-in-law, and I personally, my wife, she doesn't care where we go. She just relies on me to tell her where we should go.
Okay.
So we ended up, we went down into Garden City to Twisted District.
Okay.
Have you heard about this place? It's fairly new.
I heard a little snippet. You and I talked about it a couple weeks ago, maybe, or something like that via text, but that's probably about it.
So it's pretty cool. We went in, and they have two big garage doors on either side of the building.
Okay.
So I imagine spring, summer, it's going to be awesome. They're going to have those doors
Wide
up.
open, yeah.
Really nice place. They have a lot of the tanks right there in the drinking room there. They do have food, which
Oh,
a lot of breweries
that's
don't
helpful.
have a kitchen, but these guys had a kitchen. And looking at the menu, they got like some gourmet hot dog shit. I mean,
Really?
it looked fabulous. And then all of a sudden, this lady comes out with this giant pretzel,
Oh.
bigger than my head. I'm like, holy shit! But we weren't really there to eat,
Uh-huh.
so we kind of bypassed on the food. So we drank the beer. The beer was okay. They had two IPAs on tap. They used kind of the darker malts,
Okay.
so it was a little bit more
Like a red?
reddish.
Okay, yeah.
Both styles was a little bit darker.
Okay.
So that's what you can expect from them. They did have several other beers, but those were the only two that we tried. After that, we kept the party going.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah. Night free from kids.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kids are out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
honky tonk time.
Exactly.
Right. So after that, we went to Western Collective.
Okay, I heard this place is pretty cool. I haven't been, but
I remember I went there several years ago, and I filled up my growler, and it was a little bit expensive, but it was okay for local beer. I'm trying to support local all the time I can.
Yep, definitely.
And it was decent beer, and I really haven't gone back to it since. I mean, it's been several years since I've been there. Back in my old house, I had a younger person living across the street from me, 24 years old. He loved this place. He would talk about it all the time. We're like, oh yeah, it's crazy. Okay, I get it. You like to go down there? Okay, I should probably check it out sometime. Well, I actually did. Several years later, I actually did. I went down there, and the beer surprised me. I had their Western Collaborative, and it was a bigger double IPA,
Okay, yeah.
and it was actually pretty good. I was a little bit surprised. I'm glad I had it. My wife had a hazy. It was a lighter, like a 5.5, 6%er.
Okay, yeah.
She really liked her beer too. But the big thing is, I get why my 24-year-old neighbor really likes this place.
It's more catered to the younger crowd type of a situation. Okay,
I felt like an old creeper down at the end of the bar. If I didn't have my wife there,
Yeah.
I mean, and my wife, I look older than my wife, so maybe they didn't think that we were together or something. Maybe I'm just a solo creeper, but I try to talk to her as much as I could, so everybody around me would be like, "Okay, he's cool. He's not totally creeping on us."
Okay.
But it is definitely a younger crowd.
All right.
And the cool thing was they had different rooms where you could go in to actually drink.
Really?
So they had the main room with the big bar Went all the way down. They had a big garage door at the end. And they have the back patio. They have a bunch of outdoor lights and stuff up there. But you go to the one side, a little bit darker, kind of love mood kind of thing going on. I'm not sure exactly what
maybe. Yeah.
But around the corner was another bigger area that was all lighted up, and they had several picnic tables put together, and there was a whole bunch of people in there. So it was a really good time.
What do they have, like any games you can play while you're in there or anything like that?
Thanks for bringing that up. Twisted District. I almost forgot. They had games in there. One game that I saw with my own 2 eyes was beer pong.
Oh, neat. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, beer pong. What?
That's crazy, yeah.
Flashback to college days or something, right?
Yeah, right?
I didn't see any at Western. That doesn't mean that they don't have any. I just didn't see any. We didn't venture. I mean, it's our first time there, really. So we didn't venture too far in to kind of check things out.
Yep.
But it was a really good place to go. However, the party didn't stop there.
Oh, you kept going. My goodness.
I can't. It's like I'm not quite a teen again. It's like in my 20s again, you know?
Yeah.
We actually left there, and then we went to the Growler Guys.
Oh, okay.
Try to get a little bit closer to home, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Growler Guys, had probably one more beer. I mean, every place we went, we just had one beer. So it wasn't like
you weren't too
out
bad.
of control.
You weren't going crazy.
We weren't like stripping off our T-shirts and wanting to ride the mechanical bull or nothing like that.
Right.
Nothing like that. So we had a good time at Growler Guys. Then we went home after that. And
nice.
It didn't stop after that.
We came home and had some more, huh?
Popped open 1 or 2 more and kind of did a chit chat, just talked about things and
nice.
And had a good evening. It was a really good evening.
Good.
I think I need to get my kid out of the house a lot more often so we can do that.
Sounds like it. Sounds like you just need to kick her out.
I wish I could. No, she's got a few more years before she hits 18.
That's true.
But she's welcome in the house anytime she wants to.
Yeah. I meant kick her out, like just get her out of the house more often.
Right. I'll send her over to your house.
Yeah, there we go. We could switch,
Oh. No, I'll just send my kid over.
You could just take turns.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, fine. All right.
Okay, so back at it here.
Okay, well, I'm going to move on here. Mark, what are we drinking today?
Oh, shit, Tom. I'm glad you brought that up. It is February, and in honor of February 4th, which is also known by many as the national, I don't know if it's national, international.
No, it's national.
Worldwide
2x4
day.
2x4 day, yeah.
So in honor of 2x4 day, I actually went down to the Growler Guys and got a crowler of Melvin's 2x4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about this a little bit on the previous episode.
I think so, yep.
The 2x4 is at 9.9%, so it's a big one.
It's a big one, yeah.
So if you folks kind of hear us kind of trailing off a little bit, or just at the end of the episode we're dumber than dirt, you'll know why. We're sitting here drinking a 9.9%er, and it is over 100 IBUs.
Over, yeah.
So that means it's super bitter, but yet it's not, because they really did a fantastic job balancing out the bitterness with the malt.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the hop that they used is a lot of florally, citrusy hops. And I gotta say, it is probably my most favorite double IPA that I've had.
I would agree with that.
Years ago, you brought it up and you said, hey, you gotta try 2x4. And ever since then, I bring it up to all my friends. And then all my friends are like, holy shit. I had one beer watching TV, watching the game, and I couldn't get up. I'm like,
kind of sink into the couch a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely does creep up on you. Just because it is such a big beer, and it doesn't taste like a big beer.
It's so smooth.
It is so smooth. So, hats off to Melvin. Thank you, Melvin.
Thank you.
Happy 2x4 day to all of you out there that did celebrate the 2x4 day. But I think it's time.
It is time.
It is time to really get down into the beer basics and what all of you people need to know to actually look semi-intelligent when you're ordering beer.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so going to start off with the beer ingredients. Really, you can't have beer without the barley.
Right.
So
have the barley.
We talk about barley, we talk about malt, but really it's barley. If it's processed, it turns into malt. So they process that barley into malt, and that's what gives it the base flavor. I mean, it doesn't add bitterness or anything like that. It really adds to the body of it, the color of it, things like that. Overall sweetness. What is more important than the barley?
The water. The water.
Right.
Yeah. So when you're talking about water, what you really need is a filtered water. And if you really want to get technical with it and you want to produce really good beer, which I'm sure all the major breweries do this, you have to pH balance your water as well.
So I remember one time when I was home brewing, I actually went out and got an RV filter. So I got my hose and I hooked up the RV filter and I used that for my water when I was home brewing. And it wasn't the water to clean all my shit with. It was the water that I used for the beer. Which, in my mind, it really did make a difference on the back end.
I'm sure it did.
It did.
Well, buying the RV filter for the water is cheaper than buying the filtered water in the store. In comparison to how many batches you're going to do and, how much you're going to get out of that big filter. So,
but so all you people out there, we are two Ida-billies. I mean, we're hillbillies that try to find ways to get around something that's a little bit cheaper this way, and it may not be as good, but it's a little bit cheaper.
Yep.
So we're going to do it.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where the RV that's kind of where I could go out and I could test it, and then I could buy a bunch of chemicals to balance it a little bit better. But like I said, I'm a cheap bastard, and I just went ahead and got the RV filter. Bam! I think it did the job.
Well, it's a lot quicker than testing it, adding additives to balance out the pH. I don't know. I mean, you already have to do that with your pool now. I don't know if you really want to be doing that with your beer. So I don't know. Yeah,
too many chemicals. I can't keep track of them all.
All right. Anyways, so moving on. Another important ingredient is hops. So the hops will add the bitterness, the flavor, and the aroma.
So what is a hop, Tom?
What is a hop? It's like a flower, right?
Okay.
Basically.
So we're putting flowers in beer.
Yeah, basically. So so it grows. It grows on a vine. It grows upwards. So you have to have, like, if you see the big hop farms, they have these big long strings that go, I don't know, 20 feet up or whatever.
They're pretty tall.
Pretty tall. Anyway, so hops will grow upwards like a vine, like a grape, that kind of thing. And we can go into the details later, but there's several different parts of the hop that add the flavor to the beer, that kind of stuff. We can break it down later.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be doing a hop episode.
Absolutely.
It's gonna explain all the different kinds of pieces that go into the hop, but that's much later.
What's your favorite hop?
Oh, my favorite hop.
This is a big one.
This is a big one. It is a big decision because there's a lot of hops out there that have really good flavor. The biggest one that it seems like a lot of people use all the time is Citra.
Citra, yep.
So Citra is always a good one to go to. However, some of those New Zealand hops that they have, like the Galaxy, Zaka, some of those are really good too.
Yeah.
So if I had to name a favorite, I guess I might have to go with just the basic Citra. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I would say Citra. But if to be honest, though, if I'm really thinking about it, I did a batch of beer with Zithos IPA.
Okay.
That was what I did. And the Zithos hop was really good.
Now, have you ever had a commercial beer with Zithos in it?
Absolutely not. Nope. And if any breweries are listening, I have a perfect recipe. Just saying.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason they don't use the Zithos.
Maybe. maybe.
But I haven't found out what that reason was. Because I did try that Zithos. That was good beer.
It was great beer. So the Zithos hop is more of a pineapple, tropical fruit type of a flavor profile. So, yeah, I recommend it.
Sounds great. Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's off to the Zithos.
Yeah, moving on. So the next most important thing is the yeast. So the yeast is going to eat all the sugars and supply the alcohol. It's going to accentuate the fruit and the sweet and the dry finishes of the beer. There's different kinds of yeast for different kinds of beers. Hey, Mark, did you know that there's 180 to 200 different kinds of yeast strains commercially available for beer?
180 to 200.
Yeah.
I would have guessed like 75 to 80 maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck, that blows my mind right now.
Yeah.
I am
How many
beside myself.
have you used in your brewing?
2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Maybe 3.
Maybe 2. I'm going to say 2.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That
though?
is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I do know that there's all different kinds of yeast. I've even saw at the supply store, I saw that they have like bread yeast that you can use.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why you would use that, but I've never been in a position where I'm like, shit, I need bread yeast for my beer.
Maybe it changes the mouthfeel of the beer or
I'm-
something. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'm sure it changes some shit. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
it's going to change some shit, definitely.
All right.
All right, so that brings us to the adjuncts that you put into beer.
Yes.
So a lot of people put some, not a lot of people, but those cheaper breweries put in some rice.
Yeah. I've seen that.
I think maybe you've seen the commercial with Bud Light or Coors Light where they say, oh, it's rice and barley and hops. Well, yeah. Some people do put in some rice. A lot of people do some fruit or some juices. Mm-hmm. Some of the stouts, they use spices or flavoring, that kind of thing. I actually one time did a blood orange, and that turned out fantastic. So that's another one. Have you ever used some adjuncts?
I haven't actually, but I did do some research on potentially like barrel aging some stuff from home, like a quick barrel age when you don't really have like the barrel per se. And what you can do is use like wood chips and that kind of stuff,
yeah.
you know, so it gives it that smoky, woody flavor type of a deal. So you can do that if you don't have a barrel. I mean, I don't know how many home brewers around here are going to have barrels to put their stuff in, but yeah.
Actually, I know somebody that did have a small barrel. I can't remember where they got it from, but they did barrel age some stuff, and it ended up tasting like shit.
Oh.
It was the worst tasting beer I've ever had.
I bet you regret that tasting that beer.
I still can't get it out of my mouth. It
Oh,
was
man.
just
That's
awful.
terrible.
You know, from time to time, I've done a batch where I add some, say, candy sugar.
Oh, yeah, I've done one too. Yeah.
And so the candy sugar, you throw that in there, and it just increases the sugar content, which then gives that more food for the yeast to really get that higher percentage of alcohol that you're looking for. It's kind of a cheaper way to get a higher percentage. Usually you get your percentage from the malts and the barleys, and as opposed to, say, the sugars, but it's a really cheap, easy way to kind of up the percentage.
Yeah, and I would say from the home brew perspective, like our equipment that we use, we're not going to get that high percentage just by malts alone.
No. It's very, very difficult to do that, for sure. So some strange adjuncts. I did find out. I'm sure a lot of people around here are familiar with Rogue Brewing. Rogue is out of Newport, Oregon. And, you know, I'm kind of hesitant on actually saying this out loud because it is so disgusting. But Rogue came out with a beard beer.
Ooh, what?
Oh, yeah. So the head brewer obviously had a beard.
Okay.
And he decided, you know what? I'm going to make a beer out of my beard
Shut
yeast.
the fuck up.
I'm not making this
Jesus.
shit up.
Oh,
Not making it up.
Oh my
So
gosh.
what he did
Wow.
was he did not wash his beard for several months.
Oh, no.
And he just let it go.
No.
And then he cut hairs off of the beard, sent it in to White Labs, who actually makes several of the yeast that I've used, and they created a yeast out of his beard hair stuff.
Wow.
If anybody has ever even tried that beer, let me know. I kind of throw up just at the thought of it. It's just so disgusting. What's the strangest adjunct that you've ever heard about?
Well, I will tell you, there is the Mamma Mia pizza beer.
Pizza beer?
Kind of interesting, right?
Well, usually you have pizza and beer.
Yeah, you can. But this place, they decided to combine the two.
Oh.
So, basically, what happened was they cooked a full margarita pizza, and then they wrapped it up in a cheesecloth, and they dunked it into the mash like a tea bag.
Like a tea bag.
And then they added the basil, the oregano, the tomato, the garlic, and the pinches of red pepper, and the bready pizza dough, right? All those ingredients. And it just made this pizza beer. And it tastes just like pizza, I guess.
You know, that's one I would actually drink.
I could try it.
The whole beer, I'm going to hard pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah. But pizza beer, I would try that. I would actually try that.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So moving on, you guys now know what actually goes into a beer.
Yeah.
And
got all the basic ingredients.
Right. So. Several different parts and pieces go into each style of beer. But what makes a beer a beer?
Yeah. So first thing is the ABV, the alcohol by volume. So the amount of malt increases the sugar, which increases the alcohol. You can also add straight sugars, like you talked about the candied sugar, to increase the alcohol as well. You crush or mill the grains and soak the water into water and access the sugars, similar to the coffee process. So that's kind of interesting. The higher the ABV, the less is needed to get drunk. You know.
So if I'm drinking a 12%er.
Oh, that's like the Melvin Triple, you know?
Oh,
yeah, the Night beer.
The Tri-Lam.
The Tri-Lambda, yes.
My wife and I called it the closer.
Yeah, it is a closer.
And I know you called it the Night beer.
Oh, my goodness.
The closer for us, it's towards the end of the night, and that's when you pull out the big guns. That's when you pull out the 12 or 13% of when you want to try, and you drink that, and then you just hurry up and go to sleep because it's over.
But like the 2x4, the Tri-Lambda is pretty smooth too. So, surprisingly.
I mean, you did taste that.
You could taste it, but it wasn't like some other ones that I've tasted that taste like straight freaking rubbing alcohol, I guess. Right. I don't know how you describe it, but yeah. So
okay, so for each style of beer, it really has its own percentage range, I would say, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But the IBUs, okay, that's the other part of a beer. So those people who really don't like the bitter beers, they need to think, okay, what are the IBUs on this beer? What can I handle? What is my tolerance of IBUs? Because some people can't tolerate a 90 IBU beer. Some people really like the lower ones, like the 20s and the 30s. But, you know, IBU ranges from, I would say, 0 to well over 100. It can go to 200.
It can go to 2, yeah.
I mean, there's really no limit. So what do you know about the IBUs, Tom?
Yeah, so I know that the more hops you put in increases the bitterness, and probably depending on where you add it in the brew process as well, and depending on how much hops you add as well. Like, so if you add, let's just say, 8 ounces at a time, you're going to have a pretty hoppy beer. Like, it's just going to be, you just expect that. I think most recipes that we've done before is probably 8 to 10 ounces total, maybe. So you just got to know that, how much you're putting in. And if you put it in at the beginning of your boil, it's going to cause the bitterness. And later in the boil, it's going to be the less bitter. It's going to be the more flavor, aroma type of a situation. If you put it in the whirlpool or the flame out, it's going to add all the aroma and flavor as well.
So there was one time I actually did a clone of Sockeyes Dagger Falls.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember where I got the recipe, but I'm looking at this recipe, and they're wanting me to put hops into the mash. For those of you, we will definitely...
Wow.
That's like a whole nother episode on home brewing and mash and all that kind of stuff. But the mash is when the malt is actually soaking up the water, trying to get the sugars out of the malt. But they had me put the hops in the mash.
That's interesting.
So that's like way before you even start to boil.
Yeah, because you got the hot water. I'm guessing it's going to break down a little bit in there. Like I don't know.
So the earlier you put your hops in, the more bitter it's going to be. And so that kind of explains, if in fact Sockeye does do that, it may explain a little why it's so hoppy. Why
It could. It could, yeah.
I mean, but to me, it is a good bitter. Every once in a while, like I said in the previous episode, I did love my Dagger Falls. I love
Absolutely.
it. So every once in a while, I still do go back to that, and I still do love the Dagger Falls.
Mark, have you ever had a 0 IPA or IBU beer?
You know, a lot of times when I go to, say, Growler Guys or something like that, sometimes it says NA for IBUs.
Okay.
And are they trying to tell me that's 0 IBUs?
Maybe. I don't know. But what I can tell you, what I researched was a beer can be 0 IBU, and it can have some bitterness from the various hop particulates, so that aren't directly affected by the score of the IBU. So a beer could say it's 0 IBU, but still be a little bitter.
Well, that's very interesting, because a lot of times, no matter what beer it is, I taste better.
That's true.
Even the ones that say NA, I taste the bitterness. Really? Is it 0? If I can still taste the bitter?
Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't. I think that's debatable because there's some other research that you really truly can't have a 0 IBU beer because there's some level of bitterness to it. You know what I mean?
I think there's always got to be some level of bitterness to every beer.
Yep.
Except for maybe that Coors Light, Bud Light shit.
No, that's just water.
Yeah, that's terrible. All right. So let's jump into all the different styles of beer.
Okay.
So there are, hundreds of different styles of beer out there, and we're going to hit some of the main ones.
Basics. Yeah.
We're not going to hit all of them.
Yeah. All right, we're going to start out with the Pilsners and Lager. There's American, German Helles, German Pilsner, Czech, Bohemian. They're golden in color, light in flavor, low in alcohol, usually about 3 to 4%, and anywhere from 5 to 15 IBUs. Some examples, maybe Coors, Bud, PBR. If you get into the craft beers, you got the Tierra Madre from Mother Earth, Straight Out of Idaho from Western Collective, and then Old Boise Lager from Western Collective as well.
You know, that one, I would say that's my least favorite beer. I mean, really, in my mind, that's almost like the least flavorful beer.
Absolutely, yeah.
When I drink beer, I want flavor. So
It's probably why it doesn't cost very much.
yeah, not my favorite. All right.
Okay, moving
What do we got next?
moving on, we got the dark lagers.
Dark lagers.
Yeah,
Damn
so
it.
amber lagers, Oktoberfest, the German Schwarzbier, the Vienna lager. So they're malty with the toasty caramel flavor. And a mid-range alcohol, usually about 3.8 to 6%. They're definitely low in IBUs, 18 to 30. So those are some examples of those would be Sam Adams Boston Lager, the Dos Equis Amber. If you're going for a craft one, then you're looking at Flyline from Payette.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Again, not my favorite.
Not my favorite.
Not on the
No.
top of my list, but
No.
getting a little bit better. I mean, you got the lager, and then you got the dark. So two of my not so favorites. So that, a little bit rough for me, but okay, I get it.
All right.
Everybody's got different tastes, so
They do.
I don't want to bag on
Nope.
anybody for trying these. I will bag on you if you do the Coors Light, Bud Light type of thing. The banquet beer, I'm gonna give you relentless shit every time I see you.
Yeah.
It's just because that is terrible. Why not go craft beer?
Sure.
Why go to that big corporate bullshit that's just terrible?
Oh, speaking of that, though,
Oh.
did you see that their Bud Light and Coors are coming out with a 0 carb beer? Zero carbs.
How does that work?
I don't know. It's supposedly coming.
Well, I bet all the health nuts are going to go crazy for that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, apparently I love my carbs.
Yeah, me too.
And that shows, and I'm not going to sacrifice taste for zero carb.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to get any flavor out of that.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Moving on.
German box. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
German box. The traditional Bock, the Doppel, the Weizen, the Maybach. I mean, Germans are very heavy on their box. They really like the box, and it's got a real heavy malt flavor, and it makes them kind of sweet and nutty.
Okay, yeah.
So these Bocks, all these Bocks that I refer about, they're a little bit more up on the ABV list. They're around 6 to 9.5%, but the IBUs are still pretty low. They're 15 to 38 IBUs.
Mm-hmm.
You can find Bear Island makes a Ammo Bock.
Okay.
Sockeye makes the Maybach. They do that.
Seen that.
Like every year. The next style is the brown ale.
Brown ale.
Okay. Brown ale. Now, there are two different kinds of brown ales, an American and an English. And it's kind of a darker beer without the bitterness of a porter or a stout. It's dark caramel flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And the percentages usually range from 4 to 6%. The IBUs are still pretty low, 15 to 45. And, a lot of people kind of recognize the brown ale by, say, Moose Drool.
Oh, yes. That's a common one there, yeah.
That's honestly pretty terrible in my book, but, I would lie if I said I never had one.
I've had one. Yeah.
Definitely have had one.
Yep. Okay, well, moving on to some of our favorites here, the next two at least. All right, moving on, we got the Pale Ale. American Amber, American Pale Ale, got the Blonde, English Bitter, English Pale. Pale ales are usually hoppy but lower in alcohol content than IPAs. ABVs range from 3 to 6.1%. IBUs anywhere from 15 to 50. Some examples, we got the Johnny Utah out of Georgetown. I got the Mashed Maniac from Loose Screw, the 805 from Firestone Walker, and then the Blonde from Ram.
So, one of my most favorite pale ales, I hate
I know where you're going with this.
I hate to bring this up, but Melvin came out with, I would say, one of the best pale ales I've ever had. And it was a pale ale, but yet it was such a hop ale.
Bomb, really.
And it was just like a hop punch in the face.
Yeah.
But it was so citrusy and so good. I mean, that was one thing that Melvin did really great, was they utilized the hops like no other. I don't think I've ever had a beer that was such a punch in the face hop as Melvin did.
Yeah.
So I do love that Hubert. Anybody out there, listen to me. Hubert is probably the best pale ale I've ever had. I actually messaged Melvin on Facebook. They sent out a post and it didn't have Hubert on there as like a regular beer, and I'm like, holy shit, Melvin, what are you doing? You're blowing my mind. I gotta have the Hubert.
Yeah.
And I messaged him. I said, hey, what the hell's going on? Where's the Hubert? And they told me that they're actually going to cut back production on the Hubert, and they're going to go from the 6-pack of 12-ounce cans to, say, a 16-ounce can.
Damn, that's disappointing.
It kind of makes me sad because Hubert was always one of those ones that I could go to that was a little bit lighter in the ABVs.
I think it was 6%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife loved it, and it was one that we could kind of start drinking over longer periods of time.
It's more of an all-day type of drinking beer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You space it out a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And believe me, we've done it before.
Yeah. No.
Done it before. Did that whole all-day drinking type of thing, and it was fantastic. So everybody, get out there.
Get the Hubert. Get the Hubert before it's gone.
Let's keep it alive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on. We have the India Pale Ale.
Okay, that's the good stuff.
This is the best one, in my opinion.
Like.
But that's just our opinion.
Yes,
we love
just
this.
our opinion.
Love this style. Anyway, so some of the styles that they have are American, Imperial, English. So this one is going to give you that strong hop bitterness, very piney, florally, fruity, high in alcohol content. The English ABV sometimes as low as 5%, but typically ranges anywhere from 6.3 to 14% if you get those doubles.
I like the doubles.
Yeah, the doubles are pretty good. Anyways, the IBUs for the English is low, usually about 35, but they can get up to about 50 and above for all the other styles. Some examples, Wolf's on Parade from Barbarian.
That is a good one.
Yeah. Better Hazy Than Never from Boise Brewing. Dagger Falls from Sockeye. And then Pallet Jack from Barley Browns.
Well, son of a bitch.
But you saved the best for last there. Pallet Jack. I mean,
Pallet Jack from Barley Browns.
Man, it's so good. So good.
It is a very good beer. Thank you, Barley Brown.
Thank you.
Next, we have the porters. So the porters are those, start getting into the dark beers. There's 3 different kinds of porters, the American, English, and Robust. Mm-hmm. And they are all dark in color with that chocolate, coffee, and caramel taste. It's kind of what we see out of all porters. They're, more chocolatey than the brown ales, but definitely less coffee than the stouts. And the ABVs, it's a huge range. It's all the way from 4 to 12%. There's really no limit on ABVs with porters. IBUs are still pretty low though. The IBUs are only like 20 to 50. They're pretty low. And you can see, I don't know, I think Black Butte. Have you ever had that one?
Black Butte Porter? Oh, yeah.
That used to be my go-to. I used to go visit my brother in Bend, Oregon, and back in the day, that was my favorite. That was my go-to. You can also check out some Pipeline Porter by Kona. You can also find one from Edge Brewing. They got the Watchtower, or at least they did at one point. Lost Grove has one called Ghost Town. And then we start getting into the stouts. Now, these are the bigger beers. And now, definitely different kinds of stouts nowadays. You got the Irish American, the milk stouts, oatmeal stouts, imperial stouts, but then you also have so many other stouts.
Golden stouts.
You got pastry stouts.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can keep going on forever and ever. But I don't want to dwell too long on the stouts.
Okay.
The stouts are the dark beers, very similar to the porters. It is a really strong roasted flavor. It's got really that big, bold coffee taste. Mm-hmm. And again, the ABVs range dramatically from 5 all the way up to beyond 14 ABVs.
That's crazy.
The ABUs usually are pretty low, but every once in a while you'll find one of those stouts that has a little bit higher IBU. It can go up to 80.
Wow.
But that is kind of on the extreme end. Something you don't see very often. And again, there's a lot of stouts out there. You can find one from Goose Island. They got the Bourbon County. That one's like sought after every single year. New Holland has Dragon's Milk. I think there's the Founders got the Kentucky Breakfast Stout.
Breakfast Stout. That's interesting.
Oh,
you drinking that for breakfast or what?
Well,
I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you can. I think that's why they call it Breakfast Stout, because they want you to drink it for breakfast.
Okay.
Or I could just be seeing that all.
I think we should research that a little bit.
Maybe I'll research it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'm sure the missus will like that.
I'm sure she would, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, moving on. Next style we have is a Belgian style ale. So we have Belgian Pale, Belgian Double, Belgian Triple, and Belgian Quadruple. Belgian Strong Ales, and then Belgian Saisons. So
Have you ever had a Belgian, Tom?
I can't say I have.
I cannot say I have either.
We're going to have to do one for the podcast.
Yes. Maybe we'll have a Belgian episode.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
It's going to have to be tasters, though. We're going to have to do the tasters, I think. I don't know.
Well, there's so many different kinds. So, yeah, we can do the taste. All kinds of Belgians. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. You heard it here. Next couple podcasts, maybe
Right.
we're going to do some Belgian styles. Okay, guys? I don't know. Anyways, the colors range from pale to dark. Belgians are known for their spiced, fruity flavors and the high alcohol content. Although they're high in ABV, usually low in the IBUs. ABVs usually range from 4 to 15%. IBUs usually range from 20 to 50. Some examples of those: Elixir of the Gods from Barbarian, Torment from Heretic, Triple Tater Bear from Bear Island, and then the Triple from New Belgium. Next style, we have the wheat beer. So that's an American Pale, Belgian wheat beer, Berliner Weiss, Drunkeweizen, and a Hefeweizen. These ones use malt, the wheat basically, instead of barley. It's lighter in color and then super low on the alcohol content. It usually has tangy flavors, great with the fruit. Like the where's the Blue Moon? They put the orange in there and all that stuff.
I gotta have all the garnish.
Yeah, exactly. So you're having a meal with your beer, I guess. Anyways, ABVs usually range from 2.8 to 5.6. IBUs are anywhere from 3 to 35. Some examples of this: you got a little something from Lagunitas. Sweet as Pacific Ale is from Good Life. Interesting thing about that Sweet as Pacific, I'm pretty sure that uses a lot of New Zealand hops.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, little tidbit I picked up from some talking with other people about beer. So,
very good.
Anyways, so there's the Skull and Haiti from Mad Swede, and the Woolly Bugger Wheat from Sockeye, and the Hefeweizen from Widmer.
Isn't that Shock Top?
Shock Top.
Isn't
That's a wheat beer.
That's a wheat beer, and they serve the
They
orange with
they have their I think their logo is like an orange that's like cut, but it looks like a head
okay.
with the sunglasses on
Like
it.
the fucking mohawk.
Yeah, the mohawk. Yeah. Interesting, huh?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the specialty beers is
Okay.
next. Okay, specialty beers, and this ranges. I mean, it's insane how many different kinds of specialty beers. You got the barrel aged, the chocolate, coffee, fruit, and all you glutards out there.
Ooh.
You got the gluten-free. You got a spice and herb and honey and pumpkin ales and all that kind of shit. All of that is a specialty beer. Obviously, it ranges greatly in ABVs and IBUs. I mean, you can't really classify this into one category. It's just kind of all over the place.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people do the habanero beers, cream ales. I know that Edge has one. You might say that Killer Bees from Elvin is another one. They put honey in theirs. Actually, you could also say that Crooked Fence also has one. It's that Aviator Raspberry Blonde that they've had for forever.
I think Mother Earth does one too, that cream ale, the Cali Cream Ale.
Cali Cream Ale. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of specialty beers out there, and you really can't pin it down to like one
Category.
specific category. It's just all over the place.
Yep, that makes sense. All right. Okay, now we're going to go into discuss how the cost of these beers are broken down. So we can talk about the local draft, the cans, etc. But basically, if you're talking about lagers, they're going to be lower in cost. If you're looking at domestics, they're probably about $2.50 a pint ish, somewhere in there.
Too much. Too much
For a domestic lager. Okay.
Oh, speaking of which, I was in Costco yesterday.
Picking up some Coors Light.
Some son of a bitch. 2 cases of Coors Light.
No way.
He did put it on the bottom of his shopping cart.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, well, maybe he's embarrassed. But then he had like another shitty beer right next to it.
Oh, boy.
So it's like, oh, okay. I need to give him a direct link to our podcast.
Maybe he's throwing a party for people that need to hear our podcast.
For teenagers?
Maybe.
Because they're the only ones who drink that shit.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or people that don't have any taste. I apologize to those people who do drink that shit. Some people, like my mother-in-law, for fuck's sake, she's drank that since she was, 40 years ago. Oh, wait. 50 years ago.
Wow. That's a long time.
So some people are really set in their ways. Those old timers are really set in their ways. and they will drink nothing but.
Well,
I mean,
that's why they keep selling it.
my wife's uncle was Natty Light. I mean, shit. I mean, really. My father-in-law for a long time was Milwaukee's Beast.
Ooh.
And he would double fist it.
Ay.
Yeah. So some people are so set in their ways that that's what they drink. That's what they're going to. Okay, I don't agree with it. I don't like it, but
that's fine. That's fine. Everybody's got their style, right?
Everybody has their style.
Yeah, moving on. If you're looking at more of the craft lagers, you're going to look at to be about $5 to $6 per pint. It's a little pricier, but you probably get a little bit more flavor and stuff out of it, though.
When you say craft,
yeah,
are you talking like PBR?
Hell no.
Okay, thank you.
That's not craft beer at all. Okay, yeah. Some people may call it craft beer, but you could just tell them they're liars.
No, that's terrible. PBR. I got to refer back to my neighbor, son of a bitch. He likes his PBR. It's terrible. Give him shit all the time.
Yeah, but he does drink the other styles too, the craft beer, which is weird.
He's going back to the PBR.
Cheap? Maybe it's the cost. I don't know.
Well, he's not a college kid. I
True.
mean, he's got money to buy decent beer, so I don't know why he doesn't. I mean, it's just fucking PBR. I can't get over it. One time, he and I actually went out golfing, and we went up to the Boise Ranch. We did 9 holes, and we hit the turn, and we went into the clubhouse, and I had a roller dog and a PBR. I ate the roller dog, drank the PBR. I'm like, ooh, yes, that's a good reminder why I don't drink PBR. But I got to tell you, I don't know if it was the PBR or the roller dog tore me up for 3 days straight.
Really?
I damn near didn't have enough time to get off the toilet to go to work.
Wow.
It was just awful. So one of the two messed me up. I'm not going to say it was the PBR.
Probably the roller dog.
Possibly the roller dog.
Depends on how long that dog was on the roller, huh?
Who knows?
Yeah.
It could have been rolling for days.
Hopefully not, but anyway.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, let's keep going about the price of the beer.
All right, so then if you're going into the IPAs, you're going to be a little higher cost, so you're ranging from $7 to $8 per pint.
So why is it at a higher cost?
Well, that's because the more ingredients they put into it. So if you think about how much more hops, the cost, how much more they put in than the lagers. Lagers use very little hops at all, so that's why they don't really have any flavor.
I think to the best of my recollection, the last time I went to the supply store, 2 ounces of Citra was around $6.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. So, just another explanation of why IPAs are a little bit more than everything else.
Yeah. And then if you go into the stouts, where you're looking about $5 to $6 per pint. And then if you get into the barrel-aged ones, you're probably looking anywhere from $8 to $9 per pint.
So IPAs can get up there in price.
They can.
But the stouts.
Oh, there's some expensive stouts out there.
There's some crazy shit. I saw one from Fort George at Growler Guys, and they wanted like $45 for a growler fill.
That's a lot of money.
I cannot justify that in my own brain. It's just insane amount of money.
That's a lot.
For beer. And yeah, I'm sure it was like a 14%er. So it's going to take you like a thimble to actually get wasted.
Yeah, weird. It's weird that they'd even offer to do a growler fill of that, because normally it's like a 10-ounce pour, right? So, like, if you're getting 64 ounces of that, what are you doing? Sharing that with your whole family? I don't know. This is weird.
I don't think one person
drink that. Maybe. I don't know.
You're bringing it to a party. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, I have heard of like stout parties.
Okay.
Where all different kinds of people bring a special stout.
Mm-hmm.
One that's kind of a little bit more rare than usual.
Okay.
And everybody shares with everybody else. So maybe in that kind of instance you do that, but
that makes sense.
It's just the flavor and the price just don't make sense to me. Of course, I'm just one man.
We should have IPA parties.
Oh! Boom!
There we go.
IPA parties.
There we go. All right.
I think we do that every time we hang out. We're having an IPA party.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. All right. So now we're going to be stepping up into the snob level of beer.
Well,
kind of.
I don't really want to. I don't like being in the snob level. Everybody, oh, you're one of them beer snobs.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet.
You're just particular about what kind of beer you like.
I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like. I mean, it's just, that's the way it is. I'm not snob level. Okay, so if you were snob level, you would know that there are different glasses for each different style of beer.
Mm-hmm.
And you would also know that they are shaped mostly for aroma.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those, the tulip glass or the bulbous ones that have the big bulb at the
Like the
top
snifter.
of the glass,
Yeah.
that's to trap the aroma.
Okay.
That way you can smell it a lot better.
Makes sense.
It makes sense, but I'm not at that level. I don't have 12 different glasses up in my cupboard for each different style of beer.
No.
I'm not going to go that far. Honestly, I'm sitting right here, right now, at this table with a stainless steel cup.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not even snobbish enough to go glass. I'm ghetto, and I go stainless steel. I mean, like I said, I'm Billy.
Yep.
That's what I am, and it works for me. I mean, I don't have any issues with that at all.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's
So, if you want to go one step beyond snob,
yes.
you'll also know.
There's different styles that are served at different temperatures.
Right. Temperatures.
Temperatures
Fuck,
of the
who
beer. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so temperatures will affect the taste buds. The colder temps will weaken the taste, while the warmer temps will bring out more of the predominant flavor. Without going into too much detail, the light to dark, cold to warm, with some exceptions of some dark lagers. Everyone prefers a cold beer, but it's difficult to individually cool a keg.
So I know that several places just have one
Cooler, yeah.
where they put all the kegs.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't individualize each keg and put it at a different temperature. That's kind of hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't give two shits about that. Give me a cold beer. That's
Right.
all I want.
Right.
Fuck, I remember back in the day, before craft beer even, probably not before craft beer even existed, but a long time ago, back when Boise had a Hooters.
That was a while ago.
It was a while ago. Me and a bunch of work guys, we went there after work. We're big construction guys, and we're out there, and we go in there, and it was the end of the day. It was hot, and we go in there to Hooters. We all order a beer, and I think at the time I was drinking the Bud Light,
Sure.
Shame on me for whatever. I drank the Bud Light, and it came out, and there was at least an inch of ice floating. Like a
Oh my
slush
goodness.
in my
Wow.
beer.
Wow.
And it was the best beer ever. And honestly, Hooters was a shit show. The food was terrible. I don't know what it was. Probably again something I ordered, but just couldn't get off the toilet. It was terrible. But the beer, I wanted to go back for the beer. I didn't, but I wanted to go back for the beer. And I think a lot of people felt that way, and that's why I closed down. Because the food was terrible.
That's too bad. Yeah, so one example for me would be like a double IPA is going to need that snifter type of a glass, and the temperature, I think, I'll have to research it, but I'm pretty sure from what I remember, it's got to be like 45 degrees, something like that, for it to bring out all the flavors of a double IPA. Now, I would never do that because I use my stainless steel glass, and I just use that.
Because you're just a Billy like me?
Just basic. I don't do anything crazy fancy. I just drink beer.
That's all we do is we drink beer. We don't give two shits if it's, well, I do give a shit if it's warm. I'm not going to go
Don't
warm.
need a warm beer. Don't need that.
Nobody wants a warm beer.
Yeah.
I think actually, I want to say this. When Barrel House first opened,
Okay. Yeah.
we went down there, my wife and I went down there, and we had some beers. And the beer we were drinking at the time, I think it was one of the darker beers. So they kept it a little bit warmer than all their other beers.
Okay.
And when we first drank it, we're like, what the hell? This is terrible. It's warm beer. Why are you serving me warm beer? We didn't get it. I mean, like I said, we're hillbillies. We didn't get every beer. And we actually talked to the waitress about it. We're like, oh, it's pretty warm. She's like, that's right, because this style of beer is recommended to be served at this temperature. We're like, son of a bitch, we are not this fancy. But I guess it's not an issue of fanciness or not. But yeah, that's kind of the first time I heard about different styles of beers being served at different temperatures. I don't know how Barrel House did it at the time to serve the one at this temperature and the IPA at that temperature and lager at this temperature. I have no idea how they did it, but I'm pretty simple. Give me a cold beer.
Cold beer. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now that we've talked about most of everything about being a snob and whatnot about beer, we'll go into several details of these different styles and everything in the future episodes. But is there anything else that we need to know about Beer 101, Mark?
Beer 101.
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling this? Beer 101?
I think so.
We are like professors.
Yeah. There you go.
We are beer professors.
Yeah.
Actually, we're not.
Well, depends on how much we drink, I guess.
Well, we drink quite a bit. Maybe we're honorary.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
And I'm sure all those actual beer professors out there, if they exist, would probably have an issue with us being honorary. But because they actually probably went to school and shit for this stuff, where we just drink a lot of beer.
Right.
So you think we're smarter than them a lot of times. Like, hey, you should change your beer to add this instead of that. We're like the, what do they call them? Armchair brewers?
Armchair brewers, or the critics, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk a pretty good game, but don't know that much. I mean, really, I actually brewed quite a few batches, and I've had some really good ones. Had some bad ones too, though. But I'm not one of those types. It takes so long to brew a batch that I'm not going to brew the same one over and over and over again to get it perfect. So maybe that's why I'm not a beer professor.
Yeah. Maybe if you had more money and time, you could do that. I don't know.
It's all it takes, money and time. Money and time on everything.
Yep.
So again, this is Mark and Tom, and we're trying to do these podcasts monthly. Every once in a while, we will do a special episode. Maybe we have a special event coming up or something like that. But for now, we're just doing them monthly. And if you guys out there have any questions at all, go ahead and email us. It might be old school, but go ahead and email us.
Yeah.
At mtcans2022@gmail.com. That is mtcans2022@gmail.com. Or you can hit us up on Instagram at mt_cans.
Okay. Yeah. So we got some posts out there on Instagram. So we got some followers, which is really cool. So thank you for that. Anyways, thanks for listening. We're gonna end the podcast here with a quote from Plato.
Who's Plato? Is that clay that my child used?
Yeah, that's it.
To form giraffes?
Yeah. No, he's a Greek philosopher.
Ooh,
yeah.
we're going deep.
We're going deep. He said he was a wise man who invented beer.
Some bitch. I like that guy already. Thank you, everybody. We do appreciate you tuning in. And I'm happy to say that I made it through this episode after a 16-ounce 2x4.
Yeah, we both did. So there we go.
Congratulations, Tom.
Congrats.
High five.
Woo! Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.